I'm Jan Visser, and I have been counting my steps since August 1993. When I started, I just wanted to make sure that I covered a distance of, I think it was 10 kilometers every day. And so I made sure I had a pedometer and controlled it on a daily basis. This is the oldest type of pedometer that I used. I've been wearing ever since I started this practice in 1993. It's a little device that you clip to your belt like this. Well, I'll put it here. And it sticks there. And I would typically have it on the entire day, so every step that I take would be counted. But the pedometer had the facility actually to accumulate also the total distance that one covered. So I became aware of the total distance I walked in a month and in a year. As I saw that count up, I started realizing, hey, if I take the total of my walking distance over that period of time, I've done something interesting. Looking at those cumulative totals that I was making, I saw myself approaching a figure, namely 40,000 kilometers, and hey, that is interesting because that is exactly the circumference of the planet Earth. So I'm actually walking around the Earth. And it was almost 7 years until I would reach that point. So I was looking at it and said, well, if I walk a little bit more, then I'll reach that milestone exactly on the dot 7 years after I started. That was the first time. So that established a very interesting relationship between 7 years walking and having been around the Earth for a complete round. I did it a second time and it took me less than 7 years. Third time, I had serious medical problems in between, kept me off walking for long periods of time, so it took me more than 7 years. I'm now on the fourth round. I'm trying to make up for what I lost during the third round, so that after 28 years, I will have walked 160,000 kilometers. That's my goal. From early childhood on, I've always been interested in particular astronomy, which was at that time, talking about the 1940s and 1950s, what we knew about the sky was very little. We knew that there was a solar system, we knew that there were planets and comets, and it was about the extent of the knowledge of the universe. So I actually grew up with that curiosity about the little universe that I knew. I was aware of the different sizes of planets, knew those figures by heart. As a child also been figuring out, could I travel to the moon? 385,000 kilometers, and how do I do it? And I designed rockets, and that's the kind of thing. After having reached those milestones, the benefit that I derive from it is that it gives me a very profound sense of what it means to live on a planet and to know how small that little planet is. And getting a chance to see yourself, as my grandfather would say, he wasn't walking, but he sat in a chair and he sat like that. And I said, "What are you doing?" And he said, "I'm looking at myself from the inside." I think that is the experience I also have when I walk. In 2008, I suffered a massive pulmonary embolism, which almost killed me. That put me a couple of months back because it took a pretty long time before I was back walking again appropriately. Interesting is that probably, but that's what medical people related to. The fact that I was so healthy helped me overcome that particular instance of medical mishap that I suffered. It became necessary to do this aortic valve replacement, which is a heavy piece of surgery with a recovery time of about a year. So I now have an artificial valve in my aorta, which you should be able to hear. I decided to let reality speak for itself and to accept the reality as is and not force myself against reality. So now, for instance, I feel in my body that, because I would normally walk 20 kilometers a day, now it would be typically like 12 kilometers. That's for now. I know I can make up for it later. I hope to be able to do that before I reach that goal. But if it doesn't happen, well, too bad. I've tried, and that's important. I don't let myself being forced by those goals that I've set to overstretch myself. I never really get lost, except if I get myself lost, in the sense that I lose consciousness. Sometimes when I walk, I start dreaming, enter into some sort of trance that you let your mind go, and then you're not sleeping, it's not sleepwalking. You don't think about the environment in which you walk, and all of a sudden you wake up, sort of wake up and say, where am I here? And ideas come up much more easily, things that I want to work on, alternative solutions to problems, naturally while I walk. So that made me interested in the issue. I started doing some literature research on it, and indeed there have been studies that have established that rhythmic movement stimulates creativity. Now, walking is a rhythmic movement when you do it properly. If you walk because you want to be somewhere at a particular point in time, that would probably not do it. But if you walk your way, you let yourself walk, then you enter into that rhythmic movement, and yeah, that's what does it. Life for me advances that same way. It's very much related to being passionate. Have passions in your life. You have a passion, you want to pursue it, and that is what gives you discipline, but it drives you towards reaching that goal. It's not just a single road that you have to go. It may involve a lot of making turns, even U-turns, but you do have that discipline of not giving up. That aspect of discipline, I think, of not giving up, I think that is very important in life, because I think having passion is very important in life. It enhances life. People who don't have passion, why do you live? For what? In the end, you don't lose time, you gain time, and you gain the benefits of the walking.